finally gonna happen. Today, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the hero's journey. This video has been in the making for several years. Historians argue thousands of years. I'm mostly kidding. This is a subject that I've been meaning to talk about forever, and I held back, mostly because I know that this could possibly be an incredibly rambly video, and you can tell already from the length of this video, because I think Max from the future will know. Right now, I'm Max from the past, who's recording this video right now. And trapped within this 1280 by 720 resolution video. Suppose for Max from the future who will be editing this, if this video is less than 10 minutes, I did my job right. But hey, you already know the answer to that. I don't. First off, let's take it from the top. Hello there. Welcome back to the Writing Advice Q&A. I'm your host, M. Karen. I do writing advice videos twice a week. And today, I'm finally going to be sharing my thoughts on the hero's journey. I've been joking forever. There's two subjects that I know I can't talk about without just rambling until the end of time. One is cliches, and there's no way that video will be anything less than like 15, 20, maybe half an hour of me rambling. This video though, I've had several nights, almost a whole week, of just thinking about it in the shower, and I finally managed to put my thoughts, to put them in a much more solid state. I'm being very controlled today because this is a subject that I am very passionate about, though not in the way you may think about if you're new to my channel. If you're one of my longtime followers or people who knew me back in the Super Tumblr days, you know this is one of those things that I always stop myself. I don't like the hero's journey. Let's just throw that under the sneak it under the door already. And I've never liked it, even back from when I was in high school and it was taught to me. Primarily because of the way that it was taught to me, but also the implications that it has. I'm gonna hopefully not ramble. I can see the timer on the screen, so I'm gonna keep my thoughts concise. Before I go on anywhere though, let me to remind you, as always, the format of these videos. The following that you're about to hear is merely just my advice, my opinion, my thoughts, and what works for me. My feelings. I'm not giving you universal advice here. This is not what you must do or why you must, or if I wanted to make this a really clickbaity video, it would be like, why the hero's journey is bad, or why you should hate the hero's journey. But no, it's just my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's take it from the top. If you don't know what the hero's journey is, what is it? Back in the day, I don't have the particular date on me, there was a man named Joseph Campbell who wrote a book titled The Hero with 1,000 Faces. That book was an analysis of mythology across several cultures, and his overall goal was to show the similarities between their stories, whether it was the tale of Buddha, the Greek myths, including the Odyssey and Odysseus, and even the stories of Jesus and Moses. He wanted to show how all these stories shared similarities, and he created something in the book titled The Hero's Journey. The Hero's Journey was a 17-step process that showed how these stories went, and it was a generalized point of view in which he explained the points in the story and their general progression. On the screen right now there should be an adaptation of it. It's not entirely his, but that's the general explanation of how that is supposed to be. This story, yes, the story transcends in a particular cycle, moving the character from the world they know to the adventure, the world they don't know, until they return stronger than ever. That is the general gist of the hero's journey. And if you live in the United States, it's entirely likely that you were taught this in school, because I was. I took fantasy literature in high school, and they taught us this, and they taught us this twofold. They taught it as a way to analyze stories, which was what Joseph Campbell intended from the beginning. But they also taught it as a way of writing stories, or as a guideline for how stories should be told. And we have already arrived at the main issue here. The intended purpose was to show similarities between different cultures and the way they told stories. Somewhere along the road, someone thought, well, if this is how they wrote stories, of course, the answer is no, they didn't write them like that. That's just kind of how the patterns work. somebody thought, well, if this is how the legends wrote their stories, well, we should write them like that as well. And it was a simple enough process that I understand why it was taught in schools. It's understandable. It's really simple and straightforward. It takes the act of writing, which is incredibly daunting and mysterious, to a formula. I hate to put it like that, but it's a formula. So, what I've been saying for years, if you've been following me forever, and if I've gave you like the 2-sentence answer, William, is that this hero's journey, this system, this pattern, was created to analyze stories, mythology, kind of to make the point that all these stories are ultimately the same, and people of all cultures, regardless of background or religion, kind of believe in the same tale. This was not created to tell stories. Now, I talk about the writer's toolbox all the time. You know, you have to find the right tool for the right job. And someone out there may be saying, but Max, why can't you just adapt this into a tool? Why not just use it? And you make a good point. And allow me to give you my counterpoint, the reason why I don't think it's effective. Storytelling, I believe, at least for me, the stories that are the most fun, the things that make story the most exciting to write, are when stories are centered on character. The hero's journey and the mythology of old focuses on plot, not character. Classical plot. Things happen. It's the difference between history and story. Things happening. That is why I kind of urge people that if you want to learn a much more effective history, focus on the people who made things happen as opposed to the things that happened. But that's another conversation for another video entirely. Those old myths, those old stories, are all classical plot. This happened, then this happened, then this happened. And that, at least to me, is inherently contrary to the way I tell stories. Because, as I learned from my amazing creative writing professor in college, what I like to refer to as the Marcy rule, because her name was Marcy. She believed that story was not the byproduct of plot. You didn't have things happen and therefore was a story. Story was the byproduct of characters taking action, making choices, and facing the consequences of those choices. Characters do things. Characters make choices. Characters say things they don't mean to say. Characters break hearts. Real history. People do things, and the world changes. The main issue that I have with the hero's journey is that it is inherently about things happening to characters. And I'm not saying you can't have a story where something bad happens to your character, but the hero's journey proposes that the main character of those stories don't have a choice. This is what they must do, because that's what the blueprint is. And I would argue, much to the dismay of anyone who likes Star Wars. Oh, for those of you who are wondering, who don't know, George Lucas has gone on record, on the tape, to say that the hero's journey was a great inspiration for the original Star Wars movie. And I would argue that that inspiration is the reason why I think Luke Skywalker is not really as much of a relatable character as someone like Han Solo, because Luke is following the beats, doing what he's supposed to be doing. If I must bring a Star Wars example, I think the scene near the end of the movie when Han Solo decides to come back and help them fight was much more emotionally resonant to me, as opposed to Luke. It felt more heroic because this person who seemingly showed that he did not care comes back to show that he does indeed believe in the resistance and wants to help fight. To me, was a lot more emotionally resonant, as opposed to a character who's just following what he's supposed to be doing. I have strayed from the point. It's likely we're already over 10 minutes, in which case, oh well, what am I gonna do? So, again, why do I dislike the hero's journey? I dislike the hero's journey because it focuses on events happening, and because when there's things that must happen, characters lose the ability to choose. Characters lose the ability to do what they want to do or what is true to their unique nature. And the following is going to be a really crude way of describing this, and I apologize if it offends anybody. Having things in your story that must happen, a blueprint, that must happen, like the hero's journey, to me it feels less like actually telling a story with real people that exist in this world, that feel and do things that are unique to their own character, their own heart, and it feels more like just having puppets in front of a cardboard stage. Things are happening because they have to happen, and there is no choice along the way, and it feels less real. And I know that I've already gone long. I already know. I can see my preview window. I know that I've probably already gone over 10 minutes, in which case, I apologize. But it was gonna happen anyway, so one last thing that I have to slide in, okay? The reason why I personally dislike... this is even more subjective than ever before. I dislike the hero's journey is because I've been doing writing advice for a long time. Back in the super Tumblr days, there were periods, days, where I wouldn't go without getting a couple questions about the hero's journey here and there. And there were always questions like, Max, my story doesn't have an oracle. What am I supposed to do? What can I do to go about adding an oracle? The oracle being one of the key elements in the hero's journey, by the way. And I cannot describe in words, at least right now, how angry questions like that made me. Not at the person asking the question, but at whoever planted the idea in this person's head that this has to be this way. You must tell the story like this by following these notes. And I understand that telling stories as the wildfire that they are can be incredibly daunting and terrifying, and having a guideline like this can be inspiring. It can help you look at this enormous task and make it seem lesser. And I understand that. And I think that the hero's journey can be used like that, as a guideline, not a blueprint. I think that the hero's journey is a bigger problem to new writers, young people, particularly in high school, who are learning about it and who want to tell stories. Maybe someone like you, right now, dear viewer, who happens to be in high school and learning the hero's journey. It's not rules. There are no rules to writing. Anyone who does anything in writing will give you what works for them and nothing else. You get to find out what works for you and how you tell stories. What I've shown you here is just what I do and how I feel about things and how I get things done. My stories are about character. I feel an innate, almost as though the very coding of my existence is incompatible with the hero's journey whenever I look at it. Because a part of me, the part that tells stories, goes, no! I get to write the story however I want, and these characters will get to do whatever they want. Because doing anything else would make the story less true, less real. Again, what are stories about? Stories are about characters, real people in their own worlds, making choices, taking action, and facing the consequences of both. I've gone on way too long today, but I would love to hear what you have to say. Let's keep it civil in the comments down below. Or if not, you know what? It's fine. I'll just bring a shield and spear and we'll battle it out with words. I want to thank you for tagging along. I would love to hear what you have to say. Oh, this video is so long. This video is so long. I can't wait for the people who are like, I'm 2 minutes into this video and Max said this video would be less than 10 minutes. Lol. You're not wrong. As we roll into the formal outro, I want to let you know that if you have questions you would like me to answer, please leave it in the comments down below. I'm making a point to reply to everyone, give you a really quick answer, and I take the questions that I find most grabbing, or most timely like this one, and I just blow them up into a big video like this one. So if you have a question, please let me know. I would love to answer it. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and would like to make sure that I can continue on making videos just like this one for the foreseeable future, please consider pledging to my Patreon page. On the screen right now, you can earn cool perks, like getting to watch my videos early. And of course, if Patron's not your cup of coffee, how about a cup of tea instead? One-time donation, link in the description down below. I want to thank you for watching. We're in the formal outro now. Up here, there should be a playlist with over 200 writing advice videos. That's crazy! Up here, there should be a button to subscribe. Click on my little pixel face to subscribe and click on the bell-shaped icon to be notified whenever a new video goes up. Down here, No, down here should be Patreon if you want to support my channel and what I do. And down here should be a button to my other channel with Kitty, where we're very, very, very silly people. Thank you for tagging along. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me. And I hope to see you on the next one.